If you're a physician seeking student loan forgiveness, the good news is that you have tons of options in the medical space, whereas a lot of professions do not have as many options. One example of this is the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. This PSLF program is what most physicians are really pretty familiar with, especially people who are currently in residency or medical school, because most physicians have the opportunity to practice in a not-for-profit setting by the structure of the profession. Many people will go to residency at a not-for-profit hospital, then do a fellowship at a not-for-profit hospital, and then might only need to continue working maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 or more years as an attending at a not-for-profit hospital in order to fulfill their 10 years of credit based on their income, and they can get their loans wiped out. That's certainly the best forgiveness program. However, there's other ones as well. If you're interested in doing research as a career, then the NIH has a loan repayment program that will pay up to $70,000 for 2 years of a commitment, which is really quite good. Now, that can also be extended to longer than the 2 years by just doing a competitive renewal process as well. Another program that you could do is something called the NHSC. So the NHSC will give you certain amounts towards your loan repayment if you agree to practice in a place with a certain score that's serving underserved patients. It's a pretty good option if you're not really that interested in serving for a full 10 years at a not-for-profit facility, or not willing to do your full time that you need to get the PSLF program. You can also potentially pair the NHSC if you're working at a not-for-profit employer with PSLF, although it's a little bit complicated in how you do that. In my opinion, it's kind of duplicative to do NHSC with PSLF because you're just paying down a loan balance that's eventually going to get forgiven. So if you're able to do NHSC and PSLF and have that money go towards payments instead, please leave a comment. Let us know. That'd be really interesting to find that out. There's some other options as well. You can go with, there's some other NIH and NHSC type of repayment programs that exist out there. They're kind of specific, so feel free to read our blog post about it in the details for this video. It'll show you all the different details that are out there for doing some of these other niche programs. There's a lot of states that actually offer different kinds of student loan repayment assistance programs for physicians, particularly states that have a lot of rural areas, a lot of need for people practicing in some of these locations. So a lot of them will do something like $50,000 for 2 years of service. That's a pretty cool benefit, especially if maybe you're a family practice doctor, or you're willing to live in a rural area, underserved area, to get a little bit of extra payments towards your loans that way. So the most important thing too is also to realize physicians can be eligible too for income-driven repayment and forgiveness that way. So for example, if none of these forgiveness programs are really apply to you, or you don't want to go for any of these programs, you can also do pay-as-you-earn, revised pay-as-you-earn, and do 20 to 25-year loan repayment that way to get your loans forgiven. A lot of people in private practice that are in lower-paying specialties like pediatrics and family medicine don't really realize that that's an option either. So what you really want to do is get a plan, get a clear idea of what you can do to pay back your medical school loans without actually having to full-on attack them and pay back absolutely everything, which is also an option as well. And make sure that you're not giving up $100,000 of salary for $20,000 or $30,000 a year of student loan forgiveness either. That's a super common mistake that we see people make, especially in higher paying specialties. You really, if you want to make money, need to go into private practice most likely and just focus on getting as much salary and production as you can and focusing on your total compensation. However, if you're in a field where you're going to make a lot of money kind of regardless if you're in the hospital not-for-profit setting or if you're in a private practice and the compensation probably won't be all that different, then certainly going for something like PSLF makes a lot of sense. So if you're a physician looking for loan forgiveness, make sure that you read our blog posts and learn about all the different options that are available. And if you really want our help figuring out what to do with your loans, reach out to help@studentloanplanner.com.